So many people do their deadlifts wrong just because they do not know how to hinge properly. So we are going to break down how to hinge today and how to learn this at the house away from everybody's prying eyes at the gym so that nobody comes to you and says, well, what are you doing, dumbass? You're just going to need a stick and a wall, and that's it. We're going to learn how to deadlift, break it down, and make sure you are ready to go and try this with the barbell. Or if you're currently deadlifting with the barbell and need a fix for your form, also watch this, that this might help. So I am going to take my highly technological dowel or broomstick and put this behind my back. It is going to touch my back in 3 spots. It is going to touch my back in between my butt cheeks, on my back, and on my head. And I can hold it by the lower back, I can hold it by my neck, or if I have a buddy helping me do this exercise, I can ask somebody else to hold the stick for me. Do not tie itself to you, okay? Do not tie the stick, just hold it. So from here, I am going to bend over and keep the stick touching in those 3 points. So I am bending over, my feet are fully on the ground. I'm not on my heels, I'm not lifting on my toes. I'm just bending over. And let's start bending over slowly and see how low I can bend over and maintain contact with the stick. Beautiful. Bending over and slowly back up. Let's do 10 of these. Inhale, exhale. You can also play with your feet position. Depending on if you're conventional or a sumo puller, you might want to try different stances for this. Make sure the stick is touching in those 3 points, on the head, on the back, and in between your butt cheeks. This is shorter than the sumo stance, I know. I'm just trying it in different stances. This is an incredible warm-up. If you are currently already an experienced and a seasoned lifter, do this warm-up. Your hips will thank you. So, we figured out how to hinge. Let's break down some issues, some potential issues. What if your head lifts? That probably means you're used to looking around when you deadlift instead of keeping your head neutral and keeping your neck neutral while you lift. Leaving your neck alone is a very important skill when you're doing any exercises, regardless if you're doing handstands, Olympic lifting, powerlifting. Your neck also affects how your pelvis moves. So leave your neck alone, keep it neutral. Now, most people do not have the issue of their back lifting unless they have severe lordosis like me, but I'm kind of used to bracing my core so that I remove my lordosis purposefully when I lift because I know how much of an issue my lordosis is. If yours is so much of an issue, your stick lifts from the dowel, you might want to see a PT. I'm not a PT, I'm a personal trainer. So one good exercise I can give you for this is you're going to stand like at least a foot, maybe 1.5 feet or 2 feet away from the wall. You're going to put your hips on the wall, put your back on the wall, exhale, and force your lower back into the wall. That one exercise helped me work with my lordosis so I can manage it during my lifting. It might help you as well if your spine lifts from the stick and makes your hip hinge awkward. Another exercise is elbow wall slides. So I'm going to do this, make sure my lower back touches the wall. Everything touches the wall from my hips to my shoulder blades. Now I'm going to put my hands on the wall. You're going to hate me for this exercise. It's really hard. And now I'm going to make sure my hands touch the wall and my elbows touch the wall. And I'm going to slide my hands all the way above my head and try to push my elbows and my hands, the back of my palms, into the wall. And lower them as much as I can. Do not lift your lower back from the wall. And I'm going to do this 10 to 15 times. Do 2 sets. and your back will burn in the places where it is weak and where it needs to work to hold a proper bracing while you lift. If you want to see a video on core bracing, make sure to check out the suggestion in the corner. I covered it completely, broke down in a separate video. But let's get back. Say you worked on this and your mid-back touches the stick, okay? Now we have your hips. So let's say you're hinging. Phenomenal. You are hinging and your mid-back is touching the stick, your head is touching the stick, you're hinging, and now, whoops, your butt kind of curls under. Well, what do you do then? Your hips are probably tight. Let's stretch our hips. I have my favorite hip stretch on the chair. And you can do the exact same one laying on the floor. So I'm just going to put one knee on top, one heel on top of the other knee and hang out here, put pressure on the knee that is above and hang out here for at least 60 seconds, ideally 90 seconds. If you do any kind of stretch for less than 30 seconds, you're not really stretching anything. Your body is just kind of relaxing and allowing you to be here. And then if you want to develop new ranges of motion, you need to sit here for longer. Okay, so I can sit and put pressure onto my knee and twist, and I will repeat the same on the other knee. Now, if you are a lazy person like I am, you can do the exact same thing laying on the floor. Let's do that. Beautiful. I'm laying on the floor, 90 degrees in my knee that is above, and placing the heel on top of my knee. And again, I'm just relaxing into pushing this knee towards the wall and opening it up. I already feel the connection between my hamstring and my glute on the leg that is elevated. So I'm just going to push it a little bit more with every breath. And I can rock a little bit and hang out here for at least 60, ideally 90 seconds, or like 20 breaths. Beautiful. Another favorite glute stretch of mine is a downward dog. This is a yoga pose. I'm a power lifter. I'm not a yoga teacher. I just know that this stretch works amazingly for my whole posterior chain and my glutes. So I'm going to demo that, but you might want to ask a yoga person how to do this correctly. And if you are flexible enough, you can do this from the floor. You're just going to get down on the floor, relax your back, push your heels apart, and either hang out here, or you can lift one leg and shift your body weight onto the other leg and pop that glute, kind of sit into that glute and sit there for a little bit and do the same on the other side. Or you can just stand here and rock with these tiny little steps, lifting a heel and pushing down on the other heel and lifting down. Lifting one heel and pushing down on the other heel. If this is too difficult for you, or if you are dizzy doing this, you can do exactly the same thing. Putting your hands on the couch, on the table, or on something sturdy rather than the floor. Or you need to make sure to sit into the glute that you're stretching in. Otherwise, if you tuck it in and kind of bend over, you can't really stretch your glute. You will end up stretching your lower back. And lower back is an area not to be stretched in any movement. It does not have the ribs. It is not very protected. So you should strengthen it rather than stretch it. So in your downward dog by the wall, if I'm stretching my right glute, I'm going to sit in it and do this like Donald Duck, kind of bending over, hinging in the hips. And after I'm done, I'm going to do the same on the left, even it out. And that's it. Now, we can stretch the glutes seated on the floor, but there's also a trick here. It's not all that simple. If you try to get into a split and stretch your glutes, a lot of people do this with a bent back, well, it's not effective at all, because then you're stretching the intervertebral muscles, the muscles in between your vertebrae that are small and usually stabilize your spine. They're meant to be engaged statically when your core works statically during your lifts, and they're not meant to be stretched like this. You can strengthen them and you can stretch them in a more advanced lifting scenario, but let's not touch that today. We're stretching glutes right now for a proper hinge and for a proper deadlift performance. So you can lean on one leg, and with your straight back, just slowly walk your hands forward, and with each breath, lower yourself down. You can do this forward, and you can do this on the other leg. Again, with the straight back, just stretching the glutes. This does not require a huge range of motion. This just requires for you to feel the stretching in your glutes and lean with your straight back. And you do not have to have a ballerina split. As you can see, I am like 45 degrees split. Yes, I can open my legs more widely. I'm not particularly stretching my adductors right now, though, so there's no point. You can also bring your feet together. It doesn't really matter, whatever stretches your glutes. Wrap a towel or a band over your toes to pull yourself closer to your toes if you want to, or you can have a buddy who will pull yourself by the hands forward. But again, if somebody's pulling you forward, avoid hunching your back anywhere in your lower back, upper back, because then you will be stretching your back, and we're stretching glutes right now. So I hope that is nice and clear. Let's try our deadlift. Grabbing our stick, trying the hinge again, pushing my knees forward. So here, what I am looking for, and we're going to be talking about conventional deadlift only today, is when I start moving the barbell, I'm not going to think about getting up. I am going to think about pushing my hips forward and moving my shoulders back, kind of as if I was a wheel and I'm doing this movement with my hips and with my shoulders. That is a very nice way to think about a deadlift to prevent this. Prevent your back hunching and your core getting destabilized and moving too much load onto your back, letting the bar hang far away from your legs so that you struggle, finish a movement, and look like a pooping dog. Let's not do that. You maximize kilos on the barbell by using your back and your legs, not just your back. So here, I'm going to focus on having my center of mass, knee to shoulder line, not vertical, but slightly tilted. So my shoulders cover the bar, and my knees cover my toes. Usually depends on your limb length, but your knees would usually cover the bar ever so slightly. If you're short-limbed, they might not cover the bar too much, but usually you end up moving your knees forward at least somewhat, so that when you get up, the bar shaves your legs. It's as close to your body as possible, and you push the floor away from you with your legs while you extend the hip. For that, we need good ankle mobility. If you do not have good ankle mobility, you're not going to be able to move your knees forward to push the floor away from you explosively and effectively at the same time. If you are comfortable deadlifting, but you are not sure how much to deadlift, how to progress it to heavier weights, how to do so without getting tired, getting injured, overtrained, using your anatomy and physiology, feel free to schedule a one-on-one call with me in the link in the description. I am happy to brainstorm your current programming, your future goals, and any other thing that I can help with regarding training programming, nutrition, losing weight, gaining strength, or preparing for your next powerlifting competition. I've done this with hundreds of clients, and I'm happy to help you on your journey to a stronger you. If you have inflexible ankles, that could be a problem, not just for your squat, but also for your deadlift. So let's stretch those ankles. I like to stretch them on elevation. And this is my injured knee, so I'm going to be stretching it gently. Do treat your ankle stretches or any stretches as an exercise that is quickly becoming too dangerous to continue. You can easily overstretch or pop something without much notice. You can, however, notice if you're putting like an extra, 10 or 20 kilos on the bar, you're like, I'm not doing that. With a stretch, you can go overboard and it looks pretty much the same as a stretch that's not doing anything at all. So use your judgment to stretch to the extent that it's effective, but it's not causing you pain or it's not causing you any complications down the line, especially if you're like doing a workout later that day, or if you are doing the workout even the next day. For example, my husband, he started pulling sumo. Well, he can't stretch the day before at all, or his sumo will suffer. So I am having full contact of my foot on my elevation, and I'm moving the knee over my toe in line with my toe. If my knee falls inward or falls outward, I might see a PT. I would highly recommend that you see a PT because however your hip bones are acting usually affects that. I'm not a PT, so I'm not going to give you much advice on this. What I would focus on is just making sure the foot has full contact with the ground. And if this is enough stretch, that's all. If you feel it in the back of your calf, that's all you want to do. If you're fine going lower, you can go lower and put your body weight or even a weight like a dumbbell on here. For me, this is my injured knee, like I said, so I have my body weight and that's quite enough. I do feel the stretch in the bottom of my calf. With this one, it's a healthy leg. If I stretch pretty much the exact same way, my hamstring touches my calf, I don't really have much anywhere to go. So I can put my body weight, I can use the chair to pull myself more down, or I can use a dumbbell to stretch further if I would like to. However, my range is more than enough for conventional deadlift. This is more for people who are so super tight in the ankles that their ankle mobility prevents their hips to sit at a perfect place for their deadlift, number one. And number two is for them to be strong at that range. Because passive mobility range is not the same as your active mobility range that you can use in an exercise as your squat or a deadlift. So if you want to grow your active mobility range, you might also want to do this mobility drill for your ankles. You're going to step a few inches from the wall and try to touch the wall with your knee. At the same time, you're going to try to lift your toes up towards the shin. So in my left leg, I'm lifting the toes up and trying to touch the wall. The majority of my body weight is in the left leg or in the leg that is doing the exercise. And if it's too easy, you want to move your toes away from the wall. I'm just putting my hand here for support. I'm not super using the hand on the wall or in my rear leg for support. I'm trying to use the front leg. So you can do like 2 sets of 12 and feel your anterior tibialis burn. And this is what builds strength in the end of the range of motion of your calf that you just stretched and in your anterior tibialis. Both you will need to have a proper starting position in your conventional deadlift. I'm going to stack my knee over my midfoot, my shoulder over my knee. So this line is slightly tilted forward from the vertical. And here I'm going to grab the bar. I like to put my heels relatively close together and turn my toes out so I can engage my glute maximus. I do not like to have my feet parallel, even though some people really enjoy this. This way they can just let arms hang like ropes and grab bar closer together. I end up grabbing bar a little wider, but I use more glutes, so that's fine by me. I just need to make sure I make space for the knees. And now I'm just pushing the floor away from me while pushing hips forward and tilting shoulders back. So what you want to think about is not getting up for a conventional deadlift, because if you just think about getting up and moving the weight up, you might end up losing the hip hinge, losing the core brace and stabilization, and kind of just get up as a question mark without pushing the hips forward, leaning the shoulders back. You might not even lock out really well this way. So do remember our hip hinge. Your hip hinge stays, your back pretty much stays straight. These 3 points end up touching your imaginary bar as you do your conventional deadlift. All you need to do is just to add the legs that straighten, and that's it. So you basically keep your back tense statically, push your hips forward. You can also try to arch a little bit, but make sure you're not pushing your shoulder blades together. Your shoulder blades, your arms are relaxed, your shoulder blades are protracted forward. Your arching doesn't do anything with the shoulder blades, which is kind of a controversial movement for a lot of people, trying to arch with letting the shoulder blades protract forward and just hang. But it really helps lengthen your arms and shorten the range of movement, range of motion, and add kilos on the bar. So that's essentially how you want to do your conventional deadlift. And make sure not to over squat at the bottom and not to have your hips too high, because if your hips are too high, sure, you can do a deadlift like this, but if your hips are too high, your back ends up working a little too much. And if your hips are too low, you might end up like falling backwards, or you have to like get up out of the squat first and put your hips in the right position before you end up pulling anyways. So both of those things are not very productive. I hope this breakdown of the conventional deadlift with the things that you can train at home before you go to the gym and try it with a barbell are useful. Let me know in the description what other things I need to break down regarding the squat, bench, deadlift, other exercises in the gym, maybe some prep for those at the house. And if you have a friend for whom this video will be useful, please share it with them, like and subscribe. And if you need help to take the guesswork out of your training programming and break down the deadlift technique that you currently have, you're welcome to schedule the one-on-one consultation with me in the description. It is completely free. I don't care if you sign up with me as a coach. As a result of it, I'm happy to just brainstorm your current programming, your exercises with the videos that you filmed in the gym, or talk about any of the other things that will progress you in the upcoming meet that you've signed up for, in your health and longevity and pain-free journey for yourself, or getting stronger in the gym. Sign up for the consultation. I'm very happy to help and chat, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.